Hello everyone, my name is Jasmine McCoy and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, thank you for clicking in to drop by, but if you're a returner, it is always nice to have you back. This video, I essentially just wanted to fangirl about Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I saw it over the weekend. Super excited. So this is a review of that movie. If you haven't seen the movie, I don't know why you haven't seen the movie because it's Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But if you haven't seen the movie, you shouldn't watch this video because I am going to be giving this very, very spoiler heavy review. Essentially just talking about my favorite parts and all of the questions and comments that I had. So you have like 5 seconds to click away. Well, yeah, you got like 5 seconds before I just start getting into it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so I need to ease myself into this. So Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the sequel to Black Panther, released in 2018. The amount of just nostalgia, heartthrob importance that this has to me is so much. Like, I literally wrote an essay for one of my classes about Black Panther while I was at Harvard. I popped out, did my little presentation of my line name when I was like becoming a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha. The song that I popped out to was All the Stars, which was the same song that was used for the end credits of Black Panther. So it's safe to say Black Panther already meant a lot to me. And then we're getting the sequel, Black Panther Wakanda Forever. So a lot of emotions, but it's okay. I survived. This movie did really well during its opening weekend, $180 million domestically, and it's only gonna go up from there. It's only gonna go up from there. So, it's also obviously going to win. I mean, if you've seen the movie, which I'm assuming you have, you know this movie is going to win more awards for directing, Ryan Coogler, for costume design, Ruth E. Carter. I mean, it was there. It was the same talent, the same skill, the same creativity that we had already seen 4 years ago, just taken up another level, and I loved it. In this movie, my favorite thing is that you also have a majority female cast. So you have Letitia Wright playing Shuri, you have Denai Guerrera playing Okoye, you have Lupita Nyong'o playing Nakia, and then you have Angela Bassett playing Queen Ramonda. So we love seeing beautiful dark-skinned Black women in all of these roles interacting with each other. It does pass the Bechdel test, and I love that. And you also have, because the entire question people were asking, because of the death of Chadwick Boseman in real life, the man who played Black Panther T'Challa, the big question was who is going to play the Black Panther. So we finally get to see that. We also get new villains, and as much as I love the heroes of the Marvel universe, I also love the villains. Being able to see a new villain, a new motivation, a new justification, a new like villain's outfit, because the villain outfits also, they go hard. And we also got new Rihanna music. It's just win on top of win on top of win. So let's get into my reactions, my favorite moments, my questions from Black Panther Wakanda Forever. The first thing, it felt like the first thing when you are watching a movie, it's Marvel, so of course you have the reveal of the Marvel logo, which typically has, you know, screen caps, pictures, all that kind of stuff from the characters of the Marvel universe. And who is in that does switch out, but it was all Chadwick Boseman. It was all different scenes from Chadwick Boseman playing Black Panther, playing T'Challa, and it was completely silent. That was the opening, and I instantly started tearing up because I miss him. And it feels like he has some very big shoes that he left to fill. But we'll get to that later. So that happens with the Marvel logo, and then they instantly go into Shuri trying to save him and failing, and then his funeral, and it's just like, why are you delivering all of these gut punches right at the very beginning? Like, I'm sitting there like trying to hold back tears because of that. But it's beautiful. It's exactly what he deserved, because when I sit here and I think about it, we haven't really lost very many members of the Marvel family. So, I mean, the really, really big one that I'm sure you might remember if you're a Marvel fan is losing Stan Lee. Seeing the first movie where Stan Lee was not there to make a cameo was like, oh, he's really gone. And then seeing this where another actor, a huge actor, playing one of the like big name heroes is now gone, and that was just very sad. But it gave him the respect and the remembrance that he deserved. It felt good. It was sad, but it felt good. Moving past that, when you had Queen Ramonda at that UN conference and they're talking about vibranium, why don't you all trade with us? She says something along the lines of, we don't not trade vibranium with you because the vibranium is dangerous. We don't trade vibranium with you because you are dangerous. And she says this in this room full of white UN ambassadors, specifically to France, because France decided to open its mouth being like, France is one of those countries that's up there with England and Spain as being like worldwide colonists. So, and that's a really big thread within the Black Panther just movies, talking about colonialism and how it is almost that European countries or just white countries in general can feel like they have a entitlement to the resources of the world or the resources of other countries. So hearing her say that to the French ambassador, and then her being able to deliver the French mercenaries to the French ambassador, like, here's your trash. Here you go. When I said that you were dangerous, this is what I'm talking about. Because France decided to hire mercenaries to try and like steal some vibranium, not knowing that the Dora Milaje were gonna be there, asking, where are the weapons? Where are the weapons? She opens the door. The red coming out of the darkness. The Dora Milaje coming out and completely destroying these French mercenaries. It's like, you know what? She didn't lie. You asked where the weapons are, and she took you to the room that was holding the Dora Milaje, because they are weapons in and of themselves. Beautiful. Beautiful. Then you have the introduction of the Telecon peoples. And when it comes to this, the entire time I'm sitting there thinking, it's the Na'vi from Avatar, from Pandora. The planet is called Pandora, the movie is called Avatar, and I'm talking about blue people Avatar because the Telecon are blue. And it does not help that literally 10 minutes before the Avatar Way of Water trailer comes on, so now you're primed to think, oh, it's the Na'vi. Anyway, that introduction, that was good. That was good. Why is America trying to find vibranium? Disappointment, but am I surprised? No. Bruh. The fact that they sent those two people down there, they see the vibranium, they see the drill that's not on, and then one of the members is like, hey, Craig, or whatever the guy's name is, are you good? Because your vitals have gone all the way down. And also, this is at the bottom of the ocean, so I wouldn't be doing this anyway. But they're at the bottom of the ocean trying to like confirm that it is vibranium. She turns around, she sees that his cord is empty, so he's not there, he's not attached to his cord, and she's like, oh my god. That would have had me die, but they ended up dying anyway because the Telecon got him. But bro, the fact that they were out there doing their little siren song and all of the American soldiers are just falling off the side of the boat to their deaths, and then they're fighting against them as the Americans are fighting against the Telecon as they're trying to escape, because They done messed up. They found something that they weren't supposed to find, and these are the consequences of your actions. They were almost gone. They were in that helicopter. And then Namor, we didn't know this yet, but he comes up, he takes that helicopter, he swirls it around, he throws it into the water, and I'm just like, oh my God. He's not playing. He's not playing at all. And then you had a really, really just heartfelt conversation, one that many people have probably had before, about, and this one is between Queen Ramonda and Shuri, talking about the different ways that they are working through their grief, how they're not on the same time schedule, how one is consumed with an overwhelming anger, that she had all of the knowledge to be able to help her brother, that she has all the smarts, all the technology, but he did not say anything until it was too late, that she had everything she needed except for time. And that hurt so much, just hearing that and seeing that in their conversation. But in the middle of this really heartfelt conversation, you suddenly have Kukulkan coming out of the water, and he's just floating above it like Jesus, because he has the wings on his ankles. And he says, my name is Kukulkan, but my enemies call me Namor. And it's like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. This is amazing. New villain. His diplomacy is terrible. But also, I'm assuming he has never had to do diplomacy with people. So it kind of makes sense why he's just like, bring me the American scientists or else Wakanda dies. We have more warriors than you have blades of grass in your nation. And it's like, bruh, this is not the way to try and talk to them. Like, you have gone and attacked the Americans. Now the Americans think that it's the Wakandans. Now we're both in trouble. Now we're both just in this terrible situation. Why don't we join forces? But anyway, we have the introduction of Kukulkan, or Namor. I'm also not sure if it's Namor or Namor, but I would prefer to call him Kukulkan because I would not want him to be my enemy. Also, side note, where were your warriors that outnumber the blades of grass in our nation when Thanos came? That's a big question. Where were your people when that happened? I would like to know. Now, when you keep introducing all these different characters, talking to Marvel now, when you keep introducing all these different characters, the first question I'm going to ask is going to be, where were you when Thanos came? You were just sleeping? You said, that's not my problem? Because half of your people also disappeared too. But we are past that. We are past that. Fasting forward, when they find the American scientist, Riri Williams, so happy. And also the fact that it was kind of like a little buddy cop thing going on between Okoye and Shuri, where Okoye is like, I can be subtle, and it's like, you really can't. I'm sorry, but you really can't. I am young, I'm a student, I fit in here. Oh my God, the way Riri reacted to, oh my God, you're Shuri, the Princess of Wakanda. Like, she is so realistic. That is exactly how anyone, and especially like a young Black woman in STEM, would respond to seeing someone of that caliber, someone who could be your role model, just standing in front of your dorm door. And then the fact that you have her trying to throw things at Okoye, and Okoye is just going, it's like, please stop, you're embarrassing yourself. You know you're not gonna win. Just stop and just go with them. And then Okoye being like, well, if you want to, if you want to try and go up against these people who are trying to kill you, that's fine. What? Obviously it worked getting them to go and leave together, but guys, the fact that we were able to see another Iron Man suit, and also the fact that it's not a nanotechnology, Iron Man suit. That it's one of those old, rough, clunky Iron Man suits. We haven't seen one of those since Iron Man 2 in 2012, I believe. In 2012, yes. We have not seen a thick Iron Man suit in a decade. And I love the fact that you can see all of the attachments, all of the add-ons, all the things that she was like, oh wait, I also need this. Oh wait, I want to make sure that I have this kind of like heat-seeking whatever. I want to make sure that I have an arm cannon. And just think like, oh my god, yes, go Riri. So that was beautiful. I loved the introduction of Ironheart. Beautiful. And then you had the fight between Okoye and Namora and Atuma, I believe that was his name. Okoye is really unmatched, but those water bombs, they have me confused. And we're about to get into some science right now. So if you don't know or care about science, it's okay, just 10, 20 seconds ahead. The water bombs, I am confused. Gas is compressible. Solids are compressible. Fluid is not compressible. That is a foundation of physics. So how do you have a ball this big exploding into something water, taking up the space of like 2 houses? That's not adding up to me. I would like to figure out and have someone explain whatever science they have behind those water bombs, because it's not just an exploding water ball, because that wouldn't get to the size of 2 houses. Like the water is expanding, but water is not compressible. So I was very confused. I tried talking to my dad about this and he was also confused, because we're both going, water is not compressible. Fluids are not compressible. This is a foundation of physics. How are they doing this? Much confusion, but it doesn't matter. The fact that that took her off the bridge, that was sad. But you know what? She held her own against those warriors and she was able to cut down 3 of them. And Atuma was like, you are a worthy warrior. Let's fight. And I like when warriors of different sides are able to have that kind of interaction. Like, I'm fighting you, but I also have immense respect for you because you're good at what you do and you are presenting a challenge to me. We like that. And then we have the flashback, the exposition and all of the explanation of the Telecon people and how they came to be. So, first question. The wings on the ankles, the pointy ears, why? Like, those are character designs. They look amazing. I'm not asking that question because I dislike it. How you come up with that? What made you decide that as to be like the special things about Namor? So hearing the backstory of how they came to be, that they were indigenous people that were ravaged by smallpox, brought over by colonists, that was something that like really struck a nerve, because it's like, oh my god, the colonialization, the like, it's all coming together. So then they get pushed out into the water, which ended up being a good thing for them because they were able to proliferate without the kind of like Wakandans. They were able to proliferate without the influence of Europeans. I mean, if we're being honest, that is part of it, because they're not going to go down to the bottom of the ocean because they can't breathe. The Europeans, they can't breathe and live in this admittedly very hostile environment of the bottom of the ocean. And then his mother dies, big sad. He goes up years later to where it is that she wanted to be buried, her home. And oh, also that floating seaweed, like blue glowy thing, it has me asking the questions, are there other bioluminescent power plants out there that we get to discover in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like, very cool, very cool. But anyway, he goes up there and he sees that the Spanish colonizers have enslaved the indigenous people, And what does he do? He burns it all to the ground. We love to see it. We love to see it. It's like Killmonger. He is enacting exactly what Killmonger would have wanted, and he has the power to do it. And the way that you get his name. So, this movie had a lot of Spanish in it. I do speak / understand Spanish, and it was nice being able to, like, oh, they're speaking Spanish, let me cover or ignore the subtitles and see if I can get it. But the priest that was laying on the ground, he was, "Él es un demonio," calling him all kinds of things and cursing Khan. At this point, that was his name. And he said, "You are un niño sin amor." And that is how he gets his name. Un niño sin amor. Namor. Ah, yes. Wow. That was just so good. It made me go, oh my God. Oh, un niño sin amor. That's good. Whoever came up with that in the writing room, you did a good job. You did a very good job. Then you had Shuri and Namor talking in that little underwater cave thing, and him essentially saying, let us join forces and be the superpowers of the world. On that beach, when you were talking to your mother, you said that you would burn the world. That is what I am offering you. Let us do that together. The vibranium superpower of the water, the vibranium superpower of the land, let us join forces and make them quiver in their boots. And it's like, you know what? It's kind of like how even with Killmonger, there's a seed of truth to what you gotta say. There is an element of correctness, an element of justice in what it is that you're saying. But the way that you go around it is what makes you a villain. So her being like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, and him being like, okay, well, that makes you an enemy. I mean, he does not mince words, but he ends up taking her around his home, showing her Telecon, and it's okay, at the beginning, when they were going through that water current, I'm like, I don't really see much of anything. I'm sitting there like, the Gungans had better infrastructure than this. But then we get to the area and you see, okay, it looks nice. It's giving. Like, it's very open. It's just water. And I don't like water. Like, I don't like water like that. I don't like being underwater. Underwater movies they raise my anxiety. So I would not like to live in this kind of like underwaterness. I like when underwater civilizations at least have domes that you can live in. Like, I don't just want to be living in water. I want to live in a dome underwater, if that makes sense. But anyway, beautiful location. You get to see them living life and just enjoying themselves. And my thing was, they could have brought in the way that the upper world is polluting the water, and how like that's another way in which the land peoples have been like doing wrong onto his people. But then I thought, well, they're at the bottom of the ocean, so it's not like they're getting the direct influences of pollution, oil spills, whatever it might be, because they're so deep down. But anyway, there was that, and then there's Nakia coming to like unkidnap Shuri and Riri after they were kidnapped, and unknowingly kicking off the war. And it's like, God, dang it. Like, you're good at what you do. You're doing your job. You're doing what Queen Ramonda has asked of you. But when she shot that lady, when she shot that other lady, it's like, no. But it's okay. I mean, we know that the Wakandans are gonna win in the end. It's just, they're gonna suffer some losses. And that is what happens with round one. Now, with round one, I'm sitting here slightly confused. I did not know that the rivers of Wakanda were deep enough for orcas to swim through. I didn't know that. Little confused on the logistics, but it's okay. The amount of like coordination that obviously had to go into these extra heavy, and when I say extra, I mean extra as in people, these extra heavy scenes where chaos is happening and like everything is being flooded. That was good. They did a good job on that. The fact that Namor was able to take his fist and just go and shatter the breastplate of M'Baku's like armor, that had me going like, please, you're doing it in slow motion. Please do not have it be going through his chest. That is not what I need to see today. But they didn't, so that was good. He just went really far back. What I was expecting and wanted but didn't get, I was like, why don't you have M'Baku going against Atuma? Because that looks like it would be a good fight. But Atuma has already declared that Okoye is his equal, so he probably would have not trying to throw shade on M'Baku, but he probably would have considered that like not even a fight, a warm-up, if we're being honest. Not trying to throw shade, just how it is. Oh my god. And then what is it with phase 4 killing off all the parents? What is it with phase 4 killing all of the like special family members? And also the fact that you just come in to Queen Ramonda like just floating after saving Riri. That was sad. That was so sad. Oh my god. But you know what? In that moment, Namor created his worst enemy. He said, "You are the queen now." Just stop. Just stop. You're digging your grave right now. That is what you're doing. And that's what ended up happening. Him killing Queen Ramonda is what provided the catalyst. Not necessarily a good catalyst, not necessarily a bad catalyst, kind of both, but provided the catalyst for Shuri to just mature in a way that she never would have without the loss of her mother, and then also just become a questionable leader, because it's like, which way are you leading? We're gonna get to that in a moment. So then you have Riri and Shuri working to create a synthetic heart-shaped herb. They do it. Woman in STEM, we love to see it. And then she goes to the ancestral plane. She is in the throne room, the place where her mother died, so not necessarily a good place for her to be at that moment, but anyway. She turns around, she sees the beautiful sunset over Wakanda, and I'm sitting there and I realize, this is the music. This is the music from when Killmonger died and just wanted to look out and see the beautiful sunrise or sunset, one of those things, and when he said, "Bury me in the ocean with my ancestors who knew that death was better than bondage." So I am having all these emotions come up, and she comes around the throne and he's sitting there, he goes, "Hey cousin." It's like, oh my god, it's Eric Killmonger. It's Eric Killmonger. And I am just like, oh, okay. We can't speed past this because your subconscious wanted to speak to Killmonger. And she's like, no. And it's like, yes, this is who you wanted. She is consumed by grief, by fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. And in that fear and in that anger, she brought up Killmonger. Wow. That threw me for a loop. That was the biggest twist of the movie. If we're being honest, that was the biggest twist of the movie. And then she comes out, she's angry. She's like, oh no, my ancestors have forsaken me. Why would they do this? She hits that mannequin, the mannequin goes flying. It's like, oh, it worked. She is the Black Panther. We love to see it. She has her suit made up. And we need to talk about the suit. Costume designers on point yet again. The fact that it has silver and gold is not by mistake. That is not by mistake. The gold is representative of Killmonger and his suit when he was the Black Panther. The silver is representative of T'Challa when he was the Black Panther. And she has both of those in her suit because she's got a little bit of both of their ideologies in her. At this point, she is ready to destroy all of the telecom people. But she also is doing this out of wanting to protect her own. And then also just in the black, it's not a solid plain black. There's texture even within that. And I was like, ooh, y'all did a good job. Y'all did a very good job. And then we get to round two. Round two of the superpowered fight between the Wakandans and the telecon. And my thing is this. If you were talking about having to create something that would strip him of like all of his water, what I'm sitting here thinking is you have access to nanotech in your lab. We've seen that before. We've seen you all do, we have seen you do nanotech with the Black Panther suit. Because what I'm thinking is when they said that, oh, she's going to create something that she can just throw at Namor and it'll envelop him and it will like superheat toast him up. They didn't do that. And I'm like, that's a step backwards. That's a step backwards. But anyway, it's okay. They couldn't have made it that easy because they need plot. So they decide to put the machinery for the superheating sauna on the ship. Okay. My idea was better, but okay. And you have, again, the Wakandans versus the Telecon. They're fighting, big superhero punches. And again, I'm asking, where's the kinetic blowback power function thingy? Where's that? Because that's what, this is what you need it for. You're fighting another soup. And it's like, that's a step backwards. But okay. You didn't have all the time to get everything together, so I get it. And when Shuri versus Namor, and they're just going at it, they're going at it. And she takes his feathers off his ankles, she rips them out, and he just screams. It's like, ooh, you fighting dirty. You fighting real dirty. This is like the way siblings fight. Whew. But the best thing was when she had the spear to his throat. She had literally like burnt him to a crisp. We got a crispy chicken. Well, he's not really a chicken. He's also a little merman. I don't really know what to call him, but he's been burnt to a crisp. He's going water. And she has the spear pressed to his throat. And you're getting the interspersed images, the montage of both of their peoples, the Wakandans and the Telecon, the different, just the different ways that their people are living, but also the same, because both of these two leaders are doing what they're doing because they want to protect their people, but they're also acting out of a little bit of fear / anger / grief. And they both know that Shuri knows that if she does this, if she does kill Namor, that there's not going to be an end to this war between their two peoples. So she lets him live. They become allies, or so she thinks. Or so she thinks. And that's the end of it. She defeated him with some science. She defeated him with some of her, like, Black Panther superpowers. And that's it. So good. So good. But then in a later scene, Namor is speaking to Namora, and she's like, why would you do this? Why would you succumb to them? We're stronger than them. And he's like, we are their only ally. That means when anyone comes against them, they will turn to us, and that makes us even more powerful. Snake, murderous sea snake. But it's okay. That just means we get more telecons. And it means that we get more of Tenoch playing Namor. Then after that, you had, to me, the second biggest twist reveal was that T'Challa had a child with Nakia. Very excited. And that the child's English name was Toussaint. And Toussaint, for those of you that don't know, because Nakia and him were hiding away on Haiti, Toussaint was the name of the man who initiated the revolt against France. France coming up again as a colonizing country. Who initiated the revolt against France to bring about independence for Haiti. And this was the first country to throw off the yoke of slavery and demand, fight for, and win its independence in the entire world. So, Toussaint is the boy's name. That's an amazing history fact. Amazing history connection. But his Wakandan name is also T'Challa. And then you got me crying again. Just happy that one, Nakia and him were able to be together in some way over the course of the time skip. And then also that Shuri was able to meet her nephew. But big question, T'Challa / Toussaint has an even bigger claim to the throne because of succession. But okay, I guess we're not going to talk about that. And then you have the beautiful ending, and you have M'Baku coming and saying that he wants to challenge for the mantle of like Black Panther and being the leader of Wakanda. And you also have, throughout all of this, throughout the entire movie, director DeFontaine, it felt so good finally being able to put a reasoning, a backstory as to how and why she is a part of all of these different stories. So she comes in when it comes to the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She also comes in during the Black Widow movie. And it's just, I'm just kind of sitting there like, where you come from? Who your people? Why you know all this? How are you a part of all of these movies and shows? How are you so well connected? Turns out she's the ex-wife of Agent Ross. Well, that makes everything make sense because she has an in and knowledge about all the superhero happenings all over the world, because we know Agent Ross can't keep a secret. I mean, that's what this movie revealed to us. So anyway, those were all of my reactions, my thoughts, my questions about Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Super excited. I absolutely love this movie. 10 out of 10 would watch again. I'm definitely gonna watch it like 3 or 4 more times within this, like, I'm definitely gonna have to watch it again very soon, just so I can, analyze it even more. But that's all I had to say. You can tell me what your favorite parts of the movie were in the comments, what your questions were in the comments, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.